we all hear stories about the pandemic, you know, myself included, and I was a nurse and I was working during the pandemic. But sometimes it is so crazy to me that I will make a video and I'm like, man, I was just thinking about this time that I got my mask back and it had 4 tally marks on it, and you guys should have seen this thing. It was falling apart. It didn't even, like, I've stapled the straps together, and how many people can relate to that, and how many nurses and other healthcare workers genuinely are not over it. We are just now reaching the boiling point of some of that.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of On the Clock and Off the Record. Each episode is brought to you by Atlas MedStaff, unapologetically human. Today's guest is Lindsey Lawson, an Atlas travel nurse and TikTok creator who has built a loyal following by showing what life is really like on the road. From night shifts to new cities, she gives people an unfiltered look at the travel nursing experience, somehow making it funny, relatable, and honest all at the same time. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
All right, so I have one question, and this to start with, and this is purely for your TikTok followers. Did you wash your hair?
I did. I did make time. After I walked my dog, I washed my hair. I even blow dried it.
Good. Like, I would not care, but I knew that was a topic, and so I wanted to make sure we covered that.
I told everybody I was going to do it. That's for accountability.
Perfect. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's go on the clock. First question. You've seen travel nursing from all sides, right? Recruiter side, hospital side, TikTok side. What do you think people outside the industry still get wrong about what we do, what I do, what you do, what the industry is like?
My favorite thing that people get wrong about the nurse side is thinking that travel nursing is a specialty versus travel nurses have specialties. We all have our own specialty. You are not going to place me, a PCU traveler, in a labor and delivery assignment. That is not something that's going to happen at all, or should not happen, hopefully. From the recruiter agency side, I think a lot of people think you guys are sitting around playing games on your iPad all day, collecting a fat paycheck, and that is.
I'm drinking scotch all day.
Having lots of snacks. You're never in the office. You guys are off on an adventure somewhere, and you are making 6 figures a week to do so. It's not the case.
Right. That's a very good answer. That was a very diplomatic answer too. So there you go.
I try to keep it as real as possible.
And please, I understand your audience too on TikTok, and I love it. So we can be as real as we want to be on this. I want to, like, real honest answers are perfectly fine for me. So there you go. All right.
That's my brand. So
I know it is, and that's why I love it. So based on that, when you're on TikTok, how do you differentiate between, like, your personal life and your professional life? What do you share? What don't you share? How do you choose that? And how do you differentiate?
You know what? I think for me, my entire following, most of my content is based on reality. So most of my stuff I do share, even my bad mental health days. When there's a lot going on in my personal life, I may not get into full details, but I think most people can relate to those bad mental health days, to those days where I sit in my car and I have 2 more minutes before I have to walk inside. Because that's reality. And that's not just a part of nursing. That's everybody's reality, I think, especially with getting up early and going to work. So how do I choose? I don't. It's just, if it's something that I think other people can relate to, I'm probably going to share it. My coworkers here, they make fun of me all the time because they're like, you tell people that you don't really talk a whole lot, but you never shut up. And they're like, are you sure you're being authentic on there?
Nice. And I wonder about that too, because my life is very, I overshare sometimes, right? And I've been doing it for the past 8 years here. And so I often walk that line, like, how much should I share? I guess I'm just comfortable with who I am and what I do. And I don't really, if you want to judge me, that's fine. I don't really care.
I just throw it all out there. Like I said, at some point, someone is going to relate to it, even if it's weird. And you would be surprised how many people will relate to your weird.
Yep. I get it. Totally true. All right. Agency question. And this is the only one I'm going to ask you about agencies.
Okay.
From your perspective, what makes a good staffing agency different from a great one? Because there's lots of good ones out there. There's lots of bad ones. There's lots of good ones.
We focus a lot on the bad.
Absolutely.
As on the nurse side, we focus a lot on the bad.
Yep.
But I have a pretty standard answer for this, and you guys have probably heard it on my TikTok. I give this speech to anybody who asks me. I think that agencies that employ clinicians as recruiters.
Yeah.
I don't care if you hit the best sales metrics in your tech finance bro world. That's great. You don't know anything about what I do. Right. You don't know anything about what we do. There are so few agencies who employ clinicians, and Atlas is one of them. My recruiter, Caitlin. Everybody knows Caitlin at this point. I talk about her all the time between work and TikTok. Caitlin was an ER nurse, so immediately we connected. When I pick up the phone and I call Caitlin and I say, "You will not believe this. They gave me 6 patients today. I had an acuity of 17 while everybody else had an acuity of 7. Oh, and I didn't get a lunch break." She's nodding her head. She's like, "Wow, that sounds like a terrible day." If I call you and say the exact same thing, you're going to say, "Lindsey, that, okay, I'm sorry, it was a bad day."
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And it makes all the difference from submitting to jobs. Caitlin's going to know if she looks at a job description and it says must be able to manage ventilators independently without respiratory therapy. We're not going to put Lindsey down for that assignment.
Right.
So it makes all the difference.
Interesting. I have said for years and years, I am very comfortable on this side of the desk. I could never be on your side. But I understand if I employ those that have been on your side, right? That makes a ton of difference because you can have those conversations. It really does. It really does. It separates a good agency from a great agency.
One. And recruiter specific. Again, a clinician is going to know what's going to get you the job versus your resume getting tossed out before it even gets to anybody's desk.
Right. Which is not what we want anyway, right?
Nope.
I mean, that's
nope.
Right.
We want the job.
Exactly. Yes. I want that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of support I've done this since early 2000s. So I've lived through the pandemic. I lived through the financial crisis, right? I lived through a lot of these things. Let's talk right now. What kind of support do travel nurses need? Travel healthcare, allied to, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because it crosses over a lot. What kind of support do you need right now that we often overlook? Agencies, including us, overlook.
I think the biggest thing right now, as volatile as the market has been, as chaotic as the economy and the rates have been related to the economy, I think the biggest thing that travel nurses want support on is stability. There's not a lot of stability in what we do. And I think that scares new travelers. It scares seasoned travelers. Caitlin and I have had a meltdown already this week about some things. It's fine. It happens. Stability is one of those things. Is there a whole lot on the agency side you can do? I think there's a few things. Even if it's something just as simple as saying, "Hey, I've placed 5 travelers here in the last 6 months. They've all gotten extended." It's those extra little things that just make you feel like, okay, I'm not going to travel to this place for them to turn around and say, "Just kidding. We hired 16 new grads and we don't need you anymore." Right. That's a huge, huge thing. And then I think I wish, and I know that this is difficult from the agency side. This is just something that I wish was possible, but I wish there was more support and stability before you start an assignment. I'm going to give you an example. I had a DM recently from a new traveler. This is her first assignment. She's super excited. She is going from the Midwest to the West Coast. She's headed out to the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Staff nursing in the Midwest, as we all know, it's not a huge money maker. Staff nurses don't make any money.
Right.
She can't afford to book a hotel on her drive out there. She is going to make this drive in one day because she can't afford to stop and spend the night somewhere. And that breaks my heart, you know? And again, so from the agency side, is there a lot you can do about it? No, but it is something maybe in the future that I hope when the economy and the market balances out.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a really, really good point because, and I'll give you the agency perspective on that. I
Mm-hmm.
would love for her to be fully prepared, take that extra night in a hotel somewhere halfway in between, or or whatever, to make sure she is on her, he or she is absolutely ready for day one. But at the same time, I can only bill starting day one.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, and you know this, I can't
Can't
bill
even bill
until
on day
after
one.
orientation hours are over.
Week two.
Right. Right. And it goes to, and I actually wrote it down from your questions here at the bottom, from your questions on your TikTok there. And I want to get to it. Like, why isn't the bill rate more transparent? And I would love for it to be more transparent. I'll show you everything that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
My cost, my insurance costs, my, like, everything that it takes down,
But
right?
we have to understand it, and that's
Right.
where the difference is.
And that's where it falls. That's where it falls apart sometimes, right? And I would love to be able to pay for that hotel room for that first night, right? I mean, it's just if I can't bill on that until you get there, or even a week later, oh my goodness, right?
One of my favorite topics to tell people about is non-billable orientation hours, NBO, because I had no idea that was even a thing until I became a recruiter, and the fact that it is 40 hours at some locations.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what didn't exist 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago? Non-billable orientation.
Oh, yeah,
But
well,
it really didn't. And so, yeah. All right. Last question in On the Clock. Do you think social media has changed how nurses choose agencies or pick assignments?
absolutely, absolutely, I do. And I am guilty of being a little bit of a pot stirrer in this topic of conversation. A lot of agencies will pay. It's a pay to play game, and we all know that. And a lot of influencers, they like money. Am I immune to that? No, I love to get paid. I have never done a sponsored ad for an agency ever. But there are a lot of influencers who do. There are influencers who will sell your data to agencies, recruiters.
Yes.
They will sell, your name, your phone number. So you wonder how other agencies are getting a hold of your information. That's how other people are selling you out. So it absolutely changes everything because I have seen some really big influencers, even as recently as yesterday, making sponsored content for some agencies that I'm like, I know things about them that would keep me from working with them. So no, it's a no for me, but now that it's out there and you are talking to the masses, hundreds of thousands of followers, well, there it is.
And to be fair, we have never paid you $1 for anything.
You have not.
Anytime you've ever said
No.
our name, besides your hourly rate and your stipends and everything else because you work
Yes.
for us. Right?
And referral bonuses. And I talk
Boom.
about those transparently as well. If
Yep.
I refer you and you work with Caitlin, I get a referral bonus. Everybody knows what it is and how much it is.
Absolutely. And I am happy to cut those checks. That is the absolute best. So, absolutely. Off the record. These are going to be a little more fun, I promise.
Okay.
All right. You show an honest side on TikTok. What has been like your most unexpected, like, viral moment for in any of your content?
Ooh. Honestly, it usually ends up being either nurse mental health or nurse pandemic content.
Okay.
We all hear stories about the pandemic, myself included, and I was a nurse and I was working during the pandemic. But sometimes it is so crazy to me that I will make a video and I'm like, man, I was just thinking about this time that I got my mask back and it had 4 tally marks on it. And you guys should have seen this thing. It was falling apart. It didn't even, I've stapled the straps together and, how many people can relate to that and how many nurses, and other healthcare workers genuinely are not over it. We are just now reaching the boiling point of some of that.
I think that might be the hardest part for me to grasp through all of this because I have done it for so long and I lived through the pandemic with you. But at the same time, I did not live through the pandemic with you.
Very different experiences.
Yes, I do not understand what happened to you out there every day. I understand what happened to us right on our side,
Sure.
and the difficulties and the struggles and everything that we went through. It doesn't even compare to the struggles that you all went through. And I struggle with that sometimes and not being able to fully understand just the impact on you psychologically that it made.
I think one of my favorite things, I don't know if you've read my book. I don't know if you know I have a book, but I have a book that I wrote about the pandemic and the nurses' experience. And one of my favorite things that I wrote that a lot of people really related to was, well, while you guys were all at home watching Tiger King, which I still have not seen to this day because I refuse to watch it because I'm still mad that everybody else got to watch it and I didn't. We were busy and we were wearing trash bags as PPE. So I hope everybody enjoyed Tiger King because I still haven't seen it.
You were wearing trash bags and you were drilling plywood to the walls and like, my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I get it. Here's the thing, you didn't really miss much. Tiger King was like a train wreck that you don't, anyway.
See,
yeah.
I always hear that it's a national treasure and I should watch it, but I know how to hold a grudge. So.
All right. Have you ever posted something that you immediately regret?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I think that is normal in content creation. When you first start making content and you look back and you cringe at some of that. But there were videos that I made about travel nursing before I was well versed in traveling. You know, it was everybody was doing it, right? Especially in 2020, everybody was a travel nurse. So thinking back on some of the content that I posted that I now spend the majority of my time fighting against, like talking about how there's like, you can just use the 50-mile rule and you can just take 30 days off. And oh my gosh, now the people that find that old content and then they come around and they find the new content, they're like, wait a minute. I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't know either, but I know better now.
Yeah. But there's a vulnerability to that though. Like you have grown through all of this. Like I have too, right?
Oh.
I mean, absolutely.
From knowing absolutely nothing to now they call me like the gossip girl of travel nursing.
All right.
Is it not true?
It is, right. This will be a fun one. What's the weirdest DM you ever got? And not like creepy old man one, because I'm sure you've gotten those too. Right?
Oh yeah, we always get those.
Right. But what's the weirdest or funniest DM you ever got?
Do you know? Okay. So my favorite is when I will call out certain agencies for bad behavior and poor taste. And when I coach like other travel nurses when they're having problems with their agency and we kind of walk through these are the things I would say to them. Let's see where it goes. I will get those agencies in my DMs. I will get them reporting my content. I went through a phase for a while where a very large agency reported my content every day, probably for about a month.
Really?
Trying to get it pulled. Yes, it ended up turning into a viral video discussing some new policies that they had that they couldn't produce in writing for a traveler that I was coaching. And every day, probably for about a month, my content about that was getting reported. Their recruiters were in my comments and in my DMs, and it was entertaining for me, but probably not so much for them.
Wow. Okay.
You'd be surprised.
You know what? I am not surprised by that whatsoever. So there you go. All right. When you're not creating content, what do you do to relax?
Oh, I am a full supporter of, we call them hot girl rot days. That is the technical term for them on our little TikTok community. You will find me in bed watching Netflix, walking my dog, pretty much doing anything that doesn't require my brain power at all.
There you go. Or washing your hair.
Or washing my hair. No, that requires brain power because then you have to fix it.
Purely for your TikTok. I have no dog in this fight whatsoever. Purely for your TikTok followers.
It's just for the accountability.
That's exactly. Yeah. All right. Last question here. You've built a platform that connects with a lot of people. how do you handle the I'm burnt out, I can't do this anymore? How do you handle that?
Um, you know what? I pretty much went through one of those phases when I first got here to Lexington for this assignment. And again, most of my platform is built on transparency. It was a lot of, hey guys, I'm alive. I know you haven't seen my face in a month, but I'm here and I'm doing the best I can, and I'll see you when I can. Sometimes you just have to know when to take a step back. It has never hurt my platform. If anything, it has helped it grow. Because again, you get people that can relate to that, and everybody has their moments.
Do you think they draw power from that? Do you think they draw like power or confidence from you being that vulnerable and saying I was there and now I'm here?
I think yeah, I mean, I think there's always something to be said for validation. You know, when you get that validation, like, oh, you see these people online and, you know, they have bad days too. Okay. So it's okay that I didn't do anything but have a hot girl rut day for my 3 days off work. That's fine. That's fine. It's
Yep.
normal sometimes.
Yeah. All right, rapid fire. I'm going to go through a couple questions here, and then I have a fun little ending question too for you. But we're going to go
Okay.
through rapid fire really quick, okay?
Okay.
In honor of Stephen Colbert, what sandwich is best?
Turkey and cheese. Nothing else. Turkey, cheese, mayo. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
What kind of cheese?
Simple.
Like American cheese or?
Yeah. Like, honestly, that doesn't matter, but I like pepper jack. But I don't discriminate.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. The worst shift I ever had.
Okay, I used to work in the ER. You guys know that. And wild things can happen in the ER. But I kid you not, and this was actually when I was working as a house supervisor, not an ER nurse. And I hope that some of you guys see this. When a gentleman decided to climb into the ceiling tiles, like Nurse Dawn's character, Mr. Smith, and he fell through the ceiling tiles in the room next door. Yeah, like what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
I understand that. I've said this so many times. I've told Brad McDonald, our recruiter, that it was an ER nurse before. ER nurses are my favorite. I'm not. I don't apologize.
The chaos.
ER nurses have the best stories. They do. They have the best stories.
We do. No, we really do.
Yeah. All right. The first thing you do when you get to a new city is?
Oh, I go eat. That's the first thing you're going to do. You scope out, like, you have to know what is the best food, no chain restaurants. You either ask it on social media, you ask other people, you go eat. That's it. First,
Ask your server, where do they eat?
where do they go? Yeah, and then you just climb up the pyramid.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Outside of your own content and maybe the little bit that we dabble there, what is your guilty pleasure on TikTok right now?
Oh. Well, for a while it was Rapture Talk, but now that has wrapped up.
Oh my God, that was the best, wasn't it?
Now that that's gone, I feel like I have no entertainment left. So some of my favorites, I love skincare videos, and that's where a lot of my friends create content, and I love seeing all of their products, and then I spend all of my travel nurse money on their products.
All right. Okay. I will share mine just because he is my favorite.
Okay.
There is a chef that works for a sorority in the I want to say it's in Nevada.
I think I
Old
have
School
seen
Cav.
him. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he's awesome. He is just and everything is so he's fantastic. He's just fantastic. So, all right. Last question. Travel nursing would be better if.
Ooh. I think travel nursing would be better if, and this is a big if, but if we could figure out a way to bridge the trust, the education between agencies and nurses. I say this often. There are, and we all know this, there are 3-4 big players in the game, and they control the entire industry from top to bottom.
Yep.
And if we could get travel nurses to branch out a little bit, get away from them, and trust that other agencies can also get you a decent paying job, it would be so much better for everybody.
I as much as we subcontract with all of those,
Yes.
I 100% agree with you there. 100% agree. So, okay. I haven't done this before,
Okay.
And I didn't write this on the sheet when I sent it over to you.
Okay.
I'm going to turn it over to you.
Ooh,
You know what your followers want to know. You
always.
can ask me anything you want. Give me any question you want. Looks like
Okay.
we got like 6 minutes here, which we can get quite a few
Perfect.
questions in.
We
Go.
can. So the biggest thing that everybody always wants to talk about, and I have a worksheet for this already, but let's compare. Let's compare what my worksheet says to what you're going to say. How is a bill rate broken down into what I see as a pay package?
Absolutely. And we've done a couple of videos about this already. So
Yep.
I think one of the biggest things where we have to start is agency needs to do between 17 and 20% margin, right, on that bill rate. I'm not taking any more than 20. I'm not. And that's on a standard bill rate, right?
Yep.
On that standard bill rate. So I've got to start from there and work my way back. And I have costs. I have recruiter costs. I have recruiters get paid commission. We all know this, right? I've got that cost. I have insurance costs. I have there's technology costs. My second biggest spend right now is my database, is what I spend through Bullhorn. And I talk about Bullhorn all the time on these. I've had a number of Bullhorn people on that have talked about, what it does and how it works. But everything from payroll to compliance, everything runs through that. So it isn't just a nurse database that our recruiters call out of. It all runs through that, including how we calculate pay. So that is a very, very large cost for us. So, and I get it. You don't care about my costs. Like you don't, I understand that. Like I don't care when I go someplace, I don't care what it costs a Marriott to, clean rooms or, or whatever. I don't care what Walmart, I don't care about any of those things, but it is a part of the puzzle. So I think I'd love to hear your part of that, but start at that 17 to 20% margin and work your way back from there. I don't want or need to take more than that. I know your value. I know what you're worth, and I don't want to take any more than that.
And I think just to add to that, since you did bring up profit margins, a lot of the time in my content, 20 to 30% is industry standard, with some of those major players being higher and some of our mid-sized agencies being lower, like you guys at the 17 to 20.
30% is highway robbery, by the way. That is absolutely ridiculous, but that's my opinion.
And I think just a fun question, actually, because I love this one, because everybody during the pandemic travel nursing is still such a big focus.
Yep.
Even though we're not going back there, and we know we're not going back there. I don't know if you're allowed to share this. I can share mine if you can't. But what is the highest bill rate you either heard of or that you guys saw during the pandemic? The absolute highest. Doesn't matter the specialty. Doesn't matter. Just what was the highest?
I think the highest one I ever saw was $255.
It was $250 was the highest that I saw.
That was
yeah. And I, for whatever reason, people thought that the bill rates were well over $300. I never saw that. Did you ever see that? No.
Nope.
Same.
No.
Same.
And I will tell you right now, and I will share this. I would share this with anyone. Our average bill rate right now is $85.
Yes.
And pre-pandemic, our average bill rate was $75. So, I mean, that's where we went to where we that's where we came from to where we went to where we are right now.
And then building on that, I know one of the questions from my TikTok earlier was, why aren't rates changing? Why are they the same as they were before?
Right.
I know I could talk about this all day. I know you probably can too.
Absolutely. And here's I'll take even back further. Why did they not change for 8 years, right? Why were they stagnant from the end of the financial crisis, 0809, to right before the pandemic? They were absolutely stagnant. There was no change whatsoever. Our industry took so long to accelerate where it needed to be, just to catch up to where it needed to be. Why are they at where they're at right now? I wish I could tell you. I wish I had. I want to blame an MSP. I want to blame a VMS. I want to, but I don't have the data or the ammunition to blame anyone for that. I wish there was more that I could offer you there. They are where they are.
And we talk about nurses' wages being stagnant, like in general, because staff nursing also doesn't pay. we talk about that a lot on my page. Pay is always a big one. Always a big one.
Always.
Let's see. Was there anything else on there? I can't remember what else people were asking on there. I think most of them were about bill rates.
There was a question, and that's okay. Bill rates are okay because I have no other revenue source, right, besides bill rates. I really, that's really it. So, and I'm okay talking about that. There was a question about why aren't they transparent? And yes, it goes back to your first question. And I would love for them to be more transparent, where I could show you like a CarMax model where this is what it is, this is right, and this is my margin, and this is what it costs me, and then this is your pay, right? I would, and I would do that. There isn't necessarily a way that I could do that for when jobs open and close so fast, like you see, it would take a lot of it would take a lot of work to make that happen. And I'm going to be super transparent here. Vivian is not giving you the most transparent option right now.
Vivian is a favorite of mine to talk about because that is a marketplace, not an agency. And as someone who has seen an agency, from the agency perspective, it's a pay-to-play game. You pay Vivian to post on that app. They do not regulate what gets posted there.
Yeah.
All I'll say about that.
And now you, more than anyone, probably understands why we left Vivian a year and a half ago. And I have not looked back since. I have not looked back since.
Marketplaces can only get you so far.
That's exactly right. Yeah. There you go. All right. Lindsey, thank you so much. This was awesome. I was super happy when you said, yes, I'll do this. And then it took us like 2 months to get to this point, which I understand. So thank you for being on right here. Wrap it up for me. Where can people find you on TikTok? Where can they find you on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are?
I am on every platform. My Instagram, my TikTok, those both have the same handle. I'm at Lindsey's Leisures. I do have a YouTube channel, and it is all about travel nursing, bill rates, and income, and how pay packages work. I am not the best about keeping up with that, so it's been a while. But I do have plans to pick it back up in the future.
That's so weird. Like, I'm really good with YouTube. I am not good. I'm good with watching TikTok, but not updating it. So there you go. So
perfect.
So thank you so much. I know you're on contract with us right now. I appreciate every hour of every day that you work. It has been awesome. And Caitlin is a fantastic, fantastic recruiter, fantastic person. I don't get to see her much at all because she's halfway across the country. But you are in very, very good hands.
She's my favorite. She's the best.
There you go. Lindsey, thank you so much. Join us for our next episode where we talk to another industry insider about the staffing world.